Hi, I'm Kelly Eisner with the American Red Cross of Massachusetts. Spring is finally here, and that means it's time for a Sound the Alarm campaign where we ask people across the state to pledge to prepare to keep their families safe in the event of a home fire. Now, in the past, that may have looked a little bit different, where we've been able to have teams of volunteers fanning out through at-risk communities offering home fire education and free smoke alarms like this one on your doorstep in your home. The pandemic has changed a lot of that, but what it hasn't changed is the Red Cross's commitment to keeping you safe in the event of a home fire or other emergency. Nationally, home fires take the lives of 7 people every single day. Here in Massachusetts, our volunteers respond to an average of 5 fires every day. Our goal is to end home fires once and for all with education and proper safety equipment. If a fire happens in your home, you have an average of less than 2 minutes to safely escape, which is why having an escape plan for your family is so important. Knowing every member of your family understands what to do and where to go will give you peace of mind in the event of a fire. This year, there are lots of ways that you can help the Red Cross make homes safer across Massachusetts. If you're interested in volunteering, we would love to train you as a home fire safety educator so that you can reach out to families in your own community and share our home fire safety tips. You will speak directly with people who have reached out to the American Red Cross asking for assistance in making their homes safer. We are also asking you to take the pledge to prepare, making sure your home is safe, and sign up for the installation of free smoke alarms when it's safe for them to be installed. Here in Massachusetts, you can call 1-800-564-1234 to sign up for a virtual home safety education appointment, or visit us on our website, soundthealarm.org/Massachusetts. Nearly 600 home fires affected families in Massachusetts last year, many of them with fatalities. It's why the Sound the Alarm campaign is so important. And joining me right here is Julianne Hartle. She is our Disaster Action Team Supervisor for the Northeast Massachusetts region. Julianne, you worked just this past weekend with families in Lawrence. You said last night you were working on a response. Can you talk a little bit about what the needs are and how the Red Cross meets them?
So people have a variety of needs when they're displaced by any disaster, especially a home fire, because it happens very suddenly. And sometimes even when people aren't at home. So they may be not at home and safer because they weren't there when the building was on fire, but that means they come back and they have no clothes, they have no meds, they have none of those things that you need to build day-to-day life. They may not even have critical documents, so they can go to the bank to get some cash to go have a place to stay. So we try to get in there and we do a couple of things. We can give them very tangible forms of assistance that they can use to secure a hotel or get socks and underwear, really important thing that you want in the moment. But we can also give them referrals to other organizations that help them. We can connect them with our disaster mental health team. We can connect them with our disaster health services team to replace medications, to help them understand some of the medical issues that arise from the disaster. So we have all these different components that we're helping them with in the moment. And then our casework team stays with them because they may be working with landlords to have a building repaired. They may be dealing with insurance companies and temporary housing. They may be looking for new housing. And then when you have new housing, you need a new table, you need a new bed, you need all of those things. You can't figure that all out in the moment. And so our casework team stays with them through that process.
That's an amazing summation of the work that we do. Tell me a little bit about how that's changed in the virtual environment, because for more than a year now you've been assisting with virtual responses.
So one of the things that's hardest for us as volunteers during the virtual response is the lack of hugs. Usually we're on site and you can put a hand on the shoulder, give a hug, do those things, and give comfort. And right now, because we're trying to keep everybody safe and healthy, we're doing the majority of our response through FaceTime, through the phone, over the computer. It keeps people healthy and safe, but it takes away that intangible that makes it so much better for our clients, but also affects us volunteers.
And thank you. I'm getting choked up myself because I think you really touch on something that's so important, is that physical human contact. That's so much a part of humanitarian work, and having these, 6 feet or more between us and masks and all that, it does take away that element. But there has to be some comfort in knowing that you're still providing the support that they need, even if it's not that physical.
Well, certainly when I'm talking to a parent that says, okay, now I know where my kid's gonna sleep tonight, I feel better. Because that is something that I think can resonate for almost every adult. There's a child that needs a place to be safe tonight. Check, I got that covered.
And I think as parents, we, those of us who are parents, we can all relate to, maybe we don't need that help today, but knowing that it's there helps you sleep at night, just in general.
And people, it's a cliche, but they say, I never thought it would happen to me. And so people don't always have a plan. And I think that part of the home fire campaign is have a plan. Have a plan. Where are you going to go? How are you going to get everybody out in the immediate moment? Who's going to grab the baby? Who's going to grab the toddler? What about the dog? But also, once you're standing at the end of your driveway, where are you going to go? You might try going to a hotel. That can be expensive. They can be hard to locate, especially if it's a holiday weekend. There may not be a lot of rooms available. They frequently won't take pets. Is there a friend that can take your pet, even if all of you can't stay there? How are you going to get to work, right? If you've lost the keys to your car, or if they're damaged, if the vehicle's damaged, how am I getting to work tomorrow? Because you still need that income. And so having some of those plans put together really becomes critical. It's like the spare tire in your car. You never really want to use it, but it's good to know it's there, and it's not helpful unless you check the air pressure. Same thing with your plan. You have to revisit it and come back to it.
That's great advice. I couldn't have said it better myself. What do you want, anyone who's watching us right now on Facebook Live, what do you want people to take away from our conversation?
So there's a few things that are really important. You've got some smoke alarms right there. Have them and check them. People forget they have a shelf life. People check their milk, people check their eggs. Your smoke alarm's only good for 10 years. After that, it needs to be replaced. And we can help people out with that. It's great in Massachusetts that a new home sale requires that the smoke alarms be vetted again. But if you've been in your home for many years, you might have forgotten to look up and make sure it's still correct. Keep the batteries fresh. Newer smoke alarms typically have 10-year-long batteries, and you don't have to do that swap. But I still see many homes that have batteries that you have to swap out. And of course, they're the weird square ones that nobody has. And so unfortunately, it's the middle of the night, and that thing is making noise, just make it stop. So people take it down, and they take out the battery, and they'll get to it soon. Well, they get to it this weekend. Oh, dude, there was this big fire on the news. I should really think about that battery. Where is my smoke alarm? Anyway, and all of a sudden, you don't have it when you really need it. So having the reminder that you want to change your batteries when you change your clocks is always a good way to think about it. Maybe you just put it in your Facebook or your Outlook calendar. Hey, it's time to check your batteries. There's 100 ways to do it. Maybe you check it on your birthday. Whatever it is, keep track of those, and then have a plan. Think about, what am I going to do to have a place for myself, my family, and my pets to go if I suddenly couldn't use my home? Do I have critical documents either stored safely in my home so that I will be able to get back to them, like in a waterproof, fireproof safe? Or do I have copies of those someplace? Maybe I'm scanning them to a virtual cloud service where at least I can get an image of them. Maybe a friend has a copy of them, or a family member. Also, one of the things that's really unique about New England is that we have a lot of multifamily homes, which means you can be the best prepared, most savvy person in terms of keeping your home safe, and you don't always know what's happening in another part of the building. So people need to maintain vigilance. That's why you want a smoke alarm. It might not be what you were doing. It might be the neighbor that was smoking in bed, or somebody else who left a grill outside that started the problem. So that is constant monitoring and protecting is good for everyone.
Great advice, and thank you so much for the work that you do. I wanted to just ask quickly, set the scene a little bit for us about what it's like when we're pre-COVID and eventually when everyone's vaccinated and safe to go out. What does it look like when you're on scene helping a family?
It can be very confusing, and I think that's one of the things that's hard for families. You've got the emergency responders there. They tend to be very, very noisy with all of their sirens and their lights, and their walkies are going. You might have the alarm in the building going on. So you've got that as a sensory distraction and really kind of a disruption for people. You have neighbors out there. What's going on at Charlie's place? And sometimes they're very helpful, but sometimes it's just kind of embarrassing that everybody's looking at you. And then you don't know where to start. Oh my gosh, I don't have a place to sleep. Oh my gosh, I can't get my medication. The fire investigator needs to speak with me. My friends are calling me because they just saw this on the news. My kids are complaining that they want dinner. What do I do first? So it can be very, very overwhelming for people. Part of what we do on scene is sit with people and help them take steps one at a time. Say, okay, the firefighter that needs to do his investigation, he's really critical. Let's spend a minute with him. Can I spend a minute with you so I can help you figure out how your kid's going to get dinner? Oh, and by the way, here's your granola bar while you're waiting. Maybe you want to put one message out on the social post so that everybody knows that you're safe. We also have our Safe and Well site for larger operations. That typically doesn't come up in a small home fire, but for a larger operation, we see our Safe and Well site that you could use as well for something like that. But giving people a chance to start working through that process, and then when we meet with them, we say, what do you need for the next couple days? Do you have a place to stay? Do you have clothes? Okay, let's work through those pieces with you. And then that's that first initial shock and that first initial recovery step. After that, it becomes very, very individualized as our caseworkers get involved and figure out what people need for their second, third, fifth step in the process.
That's great. Is there anything else that you want to say to the people that are watching us? And then I will remind them how to actually put some of this into practice.
So on the side of citizen, preparedness is key, right? You can't fix it after a problem happens. So please take this opportunity to reach out and make sure your home is ready, because things may have changed in the last couple of years when now you've got another kid or you've got an extra pet and you need to reevaluate your plan. But we're also always looking for more volunteers, especially people who speak second and third languages. It's easier if we can reach people in their native language. This area has lots of Spanish speakers, but also people coming from Cambodia and from Haiti. And so having volunteers that can really connect for people in those languages is critical. And if you want to help, it's a great way to jump in.
Excellent. And I think you make a good point about how hearing it in your own language, there's a trust factor there. You're more likely to really absorb what's being said if you don't have to be translating and code switching in your head. Great, great point. Thank you so much for doing this with us. And there are a couple things that you can do. Take our pledge to prepare, redcross.org/MA, or soundthealarm.org/Massachusetts. Do you know what your family's best defense is in case of a home fire? Smoke alarms and 2-minute escape plans. Now, smoke alarms are often unseen and forgotten about. We all notice when they go off when Dad is helping out with dinner, but have you ever taken down a smoke alarm when that happens? Or tried to pull the battery out, maybe you stick it in a drawer and think, okay, I'm gonna get to that at some point. We've all done it, but proper placement of a smoke alarm is just as important as having one up and working. Smoke alarms don't really belong in the kitchen. Our virtual safety education and training can help you find the right place in your home for these smoke alarms. They definitely don't work in that drawer. Just like your TV remote and gaming controllers, smoke alarms like and need new batteries. You don't want to wait for that annoying chirp as the reminder to replace its battery. We often talk about smoke alarms during daylight savings time. It's the perfect time to feed your alarms a new battery. Even if they're hardwired in your home, a fresh battery every 6 months will help you sleep better at night knowing your family is safe. Here's a fun fact. Did you know smoke alarms actually like tests? The first day of every month is a great time to test them. That one works. We'd like to say a special thank you to this year's Home Fire Campaign and Sound the Alarm sponsors, National Grid and Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, for supporting our efforts. These programs have been educating Massachusetts residents, thousands of people, since 2014. If you would like to learn more about the Home Fire Campaign, Sound the Alarm, and all the things that the Massachusetts Red Cross can do for people in our community, please follow us on any of our Facebook or any of our social channels. We are at Red Cross MA on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you like what you see and if you want to learn more, please use the hashtag #EndHomeFires.